Hello, loves. My little boys went to bed early tonight, so I decided I would show you my newest toys. These are the stampers from Messy Mansion. I have here the white rectangular stamper, the purple rectangular stamper, and the replacement head for the extra large squishy stamper that's also purple. I have a lot of stamping holders, so I didn't bother to get the full stamper. I only got the head on that one. But I would like to first show you the size and consistency, and then show you how these bad boys stamp. So let me first start with the white one. You'll notice that it is stained pink. That's because I was playing with some pink polish earlier and it happened to stain it, but it still stamps fine. First things first is the consistency. This one is a marshmallowy soft stamper. Now, I do want to point out that in speaking with Julia from Messy Mansion, she did tell me that some of these are not as marshmallowy soft. She's had some problems finding a manufacturer that can give a consistent result. So a lot of the white ones that she has left are firmer than this. I don't know that she has any this consistency left. You would have to check and see. But so that's the white one. The purple one, which is really exciting because, well, it's purple. You can finally stamp with white polish and see what you're doing. This one is a little firmer. It's still soft. It still hugs the nail. Not as well as the marshmallow, but it does hug. I'll show you that in just a second. And also you can see the replacement head does have a good bit of squish to it. First things first, I have already prepped the replacement head for this one, but I have not prepped this rectangular yet. And I want to show you how easy it was to prep these. Normally prep requires a good bit of attention, but this one doesn't need that much. All I have here is a 300 grit sanding block or buffing block, and I'm just going to take it and I'm going to go over the entire surface of this top of the stamper. And just very gently, it doesn't take much. You can see there's a little bit of a dust coming up there. I'm also going to hit the edges, because the edges of this stamper are part of what makes it so fun. And now I'm going to stamp that excess dust onto a lint roller that I have over here, just to clean it off some. And I'm going to take a little bit of isopropyl alcohol. If you're a gel user, you have this on hand, or you have Cleanse or something like it. If not, you can use acetone. You don't want to use acetone to clean your stamper, but for this, you're just using it to remove any oils that are left over from manufacturing. So I'm just going to wipe that and blot it on my paper towel. And once that evaporates, this stamper is ready to use. It's that simple to prep this bad boy. So I'm going to put this back in the holder. Okay, so now I'd like to show you the size. These are not as large as some people were expecting for the rectangle stampers. Best size comparison that I have for it really is an OPI bottle. Everybody knows what size an OPI bottle is, right? So here's the stamper side by side to give you a good idea of the size. And the other thing on the size that I would like to show you is I want to show it to you compared to the round extra large squishy stamper, because I know a lot of you are familiar with that one. So this is the extra large round squishy pad, and here's the side by side with a rectangle. As you can see, the height in this position is the same. It might actually be a little bit bigger for the rectangle, but it is basically the round pad with the sides shaved off. So that's the rectangular pad. Now, I'd also like to show it to you in comparison to a Messy Mansion plate. If you're familiar with these plates, let me zoom in on that real quick. There we go. If you're familiar with the Messy Mansion plates, they have very large image sizes. I have those images written down somewhere. I don't recall off the top of my head what it is, and I didn't think to look. I apologize. But that's a good sized image. I mean, I don't have to stretch these bad boys to fit my thumbs, and I have fairly large thumbnails. So let me show you the stamper in comparison. If you put it side by side, you can see this is going to pick up that entire image if you can stamp straight. And let me show you the width as well. This is almost a perfect match on the width. So this will definitely pick up these larger images. Again, if you can manage to stamp straight. I don't do very well stamping straight, but that's my own problem. So that's that. And now let me show you how these work. Not really going to focus much on the white one because the white one is just the traditional marshmallow. Let me focus on the purple. Oh, before I move on to that, one other thing on these purple ones. I have two holders here, both from AliExpress, just holders that I had laying around from other stampers that I've bought. This one is the one that I have prepped, as you can see, with hot glue on the inside. There's a tutorial on how to do this on the blog, manictalents.com. But this was so that I could keep these smaller heads from other suppliers in the holder, because, you know, they fall out really bad. This is one from Wistonia, and I had to modify this holder to hold it. What I'd like to show you here is this is a non-modified holder, and look at this pad. I have to cram this sucker down in there. I mean, it's a perfect fit. It's not going anywhere. It's a little bit bigger than the Wistonia pad. I mean, it's not going anywhere, y'all. This is great. This pad is in there to stay until you take it out. It's going to take some force. So that's really cool. I'm loving that about it. Moving on to the stamping. I'm going to show you the round one first, just to show you that it is soft enough to hug a nail. Before I do that, let me show you my C-curves. I have very deep C-curves. Again, this is an old Gel Mani. I apologize. It's kind of cracking and falling apart. I've stamped over it and removed it way too many times, but I have a pretty deep curve there, if you can see it. Also on this pinky nail, and again on the others. And I apologize, that's not a very flattering look at anyone's hand. But I do have deep curves, so it's very hard for me to stamp with a firm stamper. Now, these are firmer than I'm used to. I'm used to that marshmallowy soft, but they still work really well, and I'll show you that. So, first things first, let me bring up this image one more time so you can really see the detail in this plate. I'm going to start with this one here, and let's see, is that zoomed well? There we go. Alright, so I'm going to start with this one, and I want to show you how well this picks up. I'm just using Conad White for this. Okay, and my Conad's getting a little low. Been using that one for quite a while now. Just scraping with an old credit card. And now I pulled that a little off-centered, but is it zooming there? Let's see if I can focus a little better. Come on, focus. There we go. Okay, you can see it picked up all of the detail in this. So this stamper is picking up really well after just the simple prep that I showed you a few minutes ago. That is all I did on this round one as well. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp this off because it's dried a little bit too long for me to transfer to a nail. Whoops. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do that image again. And I'm going to show you how well this transfers. Okay, there's the image picked up, and I am just going to push the nail down into that image. Dried a little bit there, but as you can see, that transferred perfectly. I mean, there's not a bit of that detail that was missed. Okay, so that's the round stamper. Now, let's move on to the rectangle, because I'm good at using round stampers. That's all I've really ever used. I'm good with the squishy one. I know what I'm doing on that. So the rectangle is a little bit different for me. I've never used one before getting this one. So I want to show you how this one picks up. And then I'm going to show you how it works pushing it down into the nail, because it doesn't have as much of a surface on the width here to allow as much squish as the round one does. So it's a little bit firmer just by default. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use a different image here. I'm going to use this grape image. As you can see, it has the big leaf in the center, very wide open image. Also the grapes themselves and the swirls in the background. So that's a lot of detail. And let's just go ahead and see how this one does. Wow, okay, so that is a lot of detail. Not a single bit of it was missed. I am very impressed. Let me get that zoomed a little better. I am very impressed with how this picks up. Okay, and once again, this is dried a bit much, so I'm going to go ahead and take that off. And I'll show you how it presses into the nail, doing a straight up and down motion. Okay, picked it up a little crooked, but that's okay. And again, I'm just going to push straight up and down. Okay. Now, that dried a little bit from where I showed it to you. So there are some pieces that kind of flaked there. But if you look at it, there's this little bit of an edge here that didn't quite get the image. Now, some people might not mind that. Let me see if I can get that to zoom a little better. Okay, but I do. I don't like that extra space there. So my curve on this nail is a little too deep to go straight up and down with this rectangular stamper. Would have worked fine with the round one. The rectangle's not quite doing it. So what I like to do on this is I'm going to try rolling it slightly and see if that fixes the problem. So I'm just going to take off that overstamp on the lint roller over here, and I'm going to go with this next image, which is still another very detailed image. I just don't want to have to stop and clean the plate just yet. So let me go ahead and do that. Okay, that picked up well. And I'm going to take that one and roll it onto this nail. And this is my deepest C curve. And that's perfect. That is a very nice roll. Now you will see this spot here that appears to have been missed. Looking at the design, I believe that is actually an open spot in the design. So I believe we're good. So that's that. And the last thing that I want to show you is, why do we need a rectangular stamper? Well, because of this straight edge. This straight edge is really cool. It gives you a lot of different options on stamping. So I'm going to put this plate aside, and I'm going to go ahead and pull out Messy Mansion 04, MM04. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to try to cut this image in half using the side of this stamper. Now, I haven't tried this yet, so it may end up being a disaster. Really don't know how this is going to work out, but let's give it a go. And what I'm going to do here is, this is a fairly open image, so I'm going to use a little more polish. And I'm going to take this, and I'm only going to pick up half of the image. Okay? So I'm going to start at one corner, and I did not move fast enough. My apologies. I should not have double scraped that one. So let me clean that and try again. Okay. I'm going to work a little faster here, a little less talking, a little more stamping. Okay. Now, you see, I've got a pretty clean line here. Now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to push straight down onto my nail with this one. And as you can see, you've got half a line there, and that's something you don't achieve with a round stamper. You can't get that straight edge. So that is the beauty of this rectangle stamper. As you can see, white shows up perfectly on it. I'm very pleased with the squishy stamper as well. I know I haven't shown you this one. I've already taken up 15 minutes of your time, so I'm not going to go any farther with it, but I will say that as far as Messy Mansion stampers, they are a complete thumbs up in my book. These are probably going to end up being my primary stampers going forward on light colors. I'll, of course, go to my lighter stampers, the white ones, for the dark colors, simply because they'll show up better. But, yeah, great job. Love them. And, well, that's my review. Hope you've enjoyed my rambling this evening, and I'll see you on the blog. Bye-bye.